Hey guys, and welcome to another ArtifactCCG.com video, and today we are going to be finally doing something that is one of my favorite things to do, and that is doing a deck tech. So I really enjoy deck building. It's one of the things that I did a lot of in my previous card game, Star Wars Destiny. And I like to innovate, and I like to play off meta, and so there was a tournament this past weekend, but we were asked to not talk about it until Artifact Shark released their article on it, as they were the ones hosting it. So feel free to check out their website, guys. They have this cool tournament analysis with lots of stats. You should feel free to check it out. Now, obviously, this was hosted by a website, not by Valve, so it wasn't as big of a tournament as some of the other ones have been. But it was still decent shot, and for every good player who wasn't there, you could name another good player who was there. But in any case, I played in it, and I did quite well. I got top 4 before losing 0-2 to Green-Red. It was kind of sad. It was weird. I felt like up to that, all of my tech was correct, and then it came to that matchup, and I was like, I need to change some cards. Well, maybe not quite like that. My opponent did have some cards that were really good for him in both games. I hadn't played enough against his deck to know, is this going to happen every game, or was it just 2 good games for my opponent? I don't know. But in any case, I made top 4, which is still quite good, and I made it with a list that's relatively new as far as I'm aware. Obviously, in a closed beta environment, you don't exactly have a ton of sharing of information, but the standard red-black deck would be the red-black gold generation, ramp into Thunderhide alphas, or Horn of the Alphas to drop Thunderhide packs and finish the game off that way. I took red-black a very different way. So if we go ahead and just look at the results here. 4-2, not bad in the Swiss. I made it in on tiebreakers. And then I won my first series, 2-1. I lost the first game and then won the next 2. And then I lost the next series. So I made top 4. But let's just go ahead and take a look at the deck. So basically, I took the red-black hero killer gold list and was like, if we're going to do this, sometimes like when you're going for the gold, it feels like you're slow, which is weird for an aggro deck. I guess you could call it hero killer not really aggro in a sense, because you have to get the kills, then buy the items, then equip the items, and then gain the value from the items. And it's just like a slower process, especially if you get up to like the 25 gold mark for that Horn of the Alpha, and you get offered a Blink Dagger instead. And that just means that round you're not going to buy it, right? You have to have 32 gold. And if you buy that Blink Dagger, even with 32, and then you get offered a different item that's still not your Horn of the Alpha, you get my point. It's kind of luck of the draw sometimes when they don't get the extreme gold counts, especially if they just never hit a payday early. It can feel bad. So I took the red-black hero killer list, and instead of running gold generation, I essentially added pump cards to just, okay, I've killed your heroes, now I'm safe, now I'm just going to drop Double Oath and kill your Ancient, right? Or drop Disciple of Nevermore and finish off your tower on the round of 5 mana. And it works quite well. It's very fun as well. One of my favorite things to do in the game is actually kill Ancients. I don't know why, there's something satisfying about doing 80 damage. I mean, it's twice as much as 40, guys. So basically, I just love that playstyle, and there are certain advantages to that playstyle. If you can force your opponent to, even if so in each matchup they actually can see your list before they play, but even with them knowing that you have all these pump cards, even if they can play around it, that's still a good thing, because they have to commit heroes into this dead lane, and then you can drop a Blink Dagger, blink out. You can obviously they can't have 5 heroes in the other 2 lanes now. They have to commit at least 1 or 2 to the mid lane. Not the mid lane, the lane that's already been killed. Or else you're just going to kill their Ancient, and that's really strong. Especially in Hero Killer, where they don't have as many heroes to go around at a time, because typically a lot of their heroes are dead. I mean, even if they do try to get to that lane that you could potentially Ancient in this round, and they drop a blue hero in there or something, you have snipers, so just drop a black hero in the left lane, assassinate whoever it is in the lane that you're contesting Ancient for, and then you can just drop a blink on the black hero and then blink them over into that lane and then add their damage to it. That, or you can, make sure you keep initiative and start off with an immediate coup. You have lots of ways to remove their heroes, even if they contest. So it's a very good lineup. And it actually exemplifies a lot of the videos that I've been doing recently. So that would be the coordinated assault suite, which is obviously in this deck. The mistakes to avoid video about undervaluing your fourth hero, and the mistakes to avoid video about high cost curves. And you can see that I definitely avoid high cost curve here. I don't even have a single A cost card. So I believe I was the only red deck in the top 8 to not have Time of Triumph, and I could easily see slotting one Time of Triumph into this list, but I make the choice not to, just because, I mean, I want to win before then. And I also exemplify the undervaluing your fourth hero slot, which that video was about making sure that you make use of your fourth hero really well and have lots of cards that they can play on the round of 4 mana, because that's your first real decision about putting in a hero and choosing where you can play a card from. In the, in the flop or whatever, in the first round, you don't choose hero placement, you don't choose where they're lining up against, so where you get to play your cards is kind of random, whereas your second deployment, you have a lot of control over that, and that's really where this deck shines. So this deck puts on a ton of pressure on round 2. And it does that through cards like Hipfire and Gank. So basically, when I have Sorlakan deploying second round, I'm looking for a lane where I've killed a hero, or that hero is low and I have tools to kill them with. So I'm deploying, Phantom Assassin is deployed in the round of 1. And if she's in a left lane, I can often, and I did this multiple times in the tournament, and it works like beautifully every time. Well, not every time, but basically, let's say Phantom Assassin is in the left lane, right? And in mid lane, you had a Legion Commander line up against another Legion Commander. Well, when that happens, they each do 6 damage to each other because of their 1 armor, reducing both the retaliate and their initial attack damage by 1. So they each have 2 health left and an armor. If I have in my second hand either a pickoff or a gank, what I'll often do is I'll toss Sorlakan into a right lane than my Phantom Assassin, in this case the lane with like the Legion Commander, and then I will use my Phantom Assassin's mana to pick off the Legion Commander, thus killing her, and then when I come to the Sorlakan's lane, I will drop Coordinated Assault or Assault Ladders, and just add a ton of damage, and I will half that tower's health, or if not more. I mean, Sorla alone is hitting for 12, Legion is hitting for 6, so you're looking at 18 there. You drop Coordinated Assault, you're looking at +6. That is 24 damage already. And yeah, it's a lot of damage. And then when your opponent tries, deploys their next hero and tries to save that lane, you still have cards like Gank, Duel, pickoffs, all that jazz to just make sure you finish that lane off. And you very often will kill your first tower on the round of 5 mana. Almost every game with this list, if you have the right cards, it's almost certainly going to happen because you're so good at killing heroes, and Sorlakan is so good at hitting towers. So then you kind of progress, and once you get that, it's great for you because you've progressed into the state where your opponent is kind of in a conundrum, where if they ignore the lane with your Sorlakan and the Legion Commander, or the Sorlakan and the Axe, whichever red hero she's with, you're literally just going to kill their Ancient. Because you can just drop Double Oath, you can drop Oath, Disciple of Nevermore, and you can hit their tower for 80. Or their Ancient, rather. I mean, I have multiple games throughout the tournament, and this wasn't every game, but in the games where it goes perfect, it's insane what happens. You can easily, in the round of 6, 80 their Ancient. Because you can double Oath. I mean, you have to get the right draws, but if you have, let's say, 5 units in there and you drop double Oath, or 6 units, or however, if you get like lucky creep spawns, maybe you dropped an early Bronze Legionnaire into that lane. If you have like 6 units there and you double Oath, you're looking at 6 times 8 for 48 damage, plus the 12 damage of Sorlakan. You're looking at 60 there, plus the 6 damage of like a Legion, 66. And then if you had a Coordinated Assault or 2 on Sorlakan, you're looking at almost 80 damage there, certainly. So yeah, they can't really abandon that lane, so your opponent has to keep committing resources to the lane that is essentially over, which allows you to then commit more resources to the other lanes, and with between cards like Coup de Grace and Assassinate that come into play in those rounds, you're usually able to kill either the hero contesting the Ancient lane or the hero contesting one of the tower lanes, and then drop your pump cards and finish them off. So yeah, it's a very good list, at least in my opinion. I think there are some things that it definitely would change. My 2 Swiss losses were to essentially Thunder God's Wrath abuse, and that's using Thunder God's Wrath and Aghanim Sanctum to cast the Thunder God's Wrath, refresh your mana, cast the Thunder God's Wrath. You're looking at 8 piercing damage across your entire board, and that's really hard to deal with. And for that reason, I think I'd want to replace the Traveler's Cloaks with Stonehall Cloaks. Because the Stonehall Cloaks are a real counter to any sort of damage count spell. So even like Sniper's Assassinate or definitely the 4 piercing damage of Zeus, if you drop a Traveler's Cloak, you're looking at +4 damage. That's usually enough to save a hero and put them out of easy kill range. But over the course of several turns, they're going to take chunk damage from creeps, and they're going to be back into range of dying from Zeus. Whereas with a Stonehall Cloak, gaining that 2 health every single round means that creeps aren't going to be bringing you any closer to dying to Thunder God's Wrath. And, I mean, towards the end of the game, you're looking at like 16 health heroes, right? And it doesn't matter if you cast 4 Thunder Gods. You'd have to cast 4 of them, right? To kill a person with a cloak. And for that reason, I think I would transition from Traveler's Cloaks into the Stonehall Cloaks. And since you're spending a little bit more money on that, I'd probably drop one of the 19 cost items. I ran Vestors just because I found that, like, I just think Vestors is nuts. I also found that I didn't really lack any damage. I don't need Horn of the Alpha to do enough damage. The Horn of the Alpha costs 6 more gold, which is significant when you're not running any gold generation. And what you do need is a way to answer wide decks, because, I mean, there's literally no wave clear in here besides, like, Berserker's Call. And with that in mind, Vesture of the Tyrant is very, very useful. I mean, you toss one of your units into the lane that the combo green-blue combo deck is trying to kill, and you're reducing a ton of damage to your tower, and it's just, I mean, it's really good. I mean, that instant respawn, it makes it easier to play into cards like Annihilation. If you can chuck, several heroes into lane against a blue hero, if you know that one of those heroes is going to immediately come back the next round if they try to annihilate you. I like Vesture for that reason, but as I said, if I transition into the Stonehall Cloaks, I might move away from running 2 Vestures, maybe just run a singles Vesture, or even something else. I'm unsure. So let's make sure I cover all these cards on the list. So as I stated, I'm running the Coordinated Assault suite. So we got Coordinated Assault, Disciple of Nevermore, and the Oath are the ways I pump damage. And, as well as Assault Ladders, right? But that's kind of Sorlacon's card, and it's kind of the weakest of the damage pumps, but it's also the least risky. So for that reason, it's quite useful. As far as hero killing, we run like 4 of our heroes have hero killing abilities. So we have Phantom Assassin's Coup, Axe's Berserker's Skull, Legion Commander's Duel, and Sniper's Assassinate. So that's 12 hero killer cards right there. We also run 3 ganks, 2 pickoffs, and the reason I run gank is that I find it over pickoff is that I find that I really just want to be able to get the kill, and pickoff doesn't always do that. And I find that I actually quite often want my heroes to die. So let's say that my opponent does commit to a lane that I've already won or something like that. I can use my gank to gank a hero in another one of the lanes and simultaneously kill my own hero, such that 2 rounds from then I get to spawn that hero into a more important lane. I mean, I run 3 blinks, but that you don't always have enough maneuverability to go around. Anyways, let's see what else we have. 1 smash for their defenses. That makes sense. It's decent to have some sort of improvement control. Hipfires are in there. I only run 2, and it's my only initiative cards right now. I find that initiative isn't as important in this list, just because I have so much cross-lane presence in the 3 ganks and the 3 assassinates. But that being said, I could easily justify putting in another Hipfire or trying to find other initiative cards. Let's see, what else do we got in here? We got 3 Bronze Legionnaires. Just a solid play to get to play round 1. I want to start generating board presence on round 1, and then I want to abuse that board presence round 2 with Sorla Khan and a gank / pickoff, right? So if I can drop in Bronze Legionnaire, right, on that round 1, that's potentially a ton of damage later on, because it's not going to die to creeps, and if it sticks around, you're looking at Assault Ladders, the Oath, and Disciple of Nevermore is all buffing that creep's damage. So any sort of creep that I can get on the board that's going to stick around is going to be really valuable. I also ran 2 Red Mist Pillagers. They're just kind of a secondary win condition, and I think maybe 2 to 3 games I got Red Mist Pillagers going, and then like your opponent's like, oh crap! Not only do you have 8 Red Mist Pillagers, but you have them in a lane with Assault Ladders, right? So they do a lot of work. Beyond that, you guys should be able to see there are 3 cards missing. I obviously can't talk about that. Yeah, that's kind of the list. Very very fun. Hopefully, it feels good to have my first high result in Artifact. I didn't really get to play in any of the early constructed tournaments. I've only played in a few of the limited tournaments, and I will freely admit I'm not as good at limited as I am at constructed because I'm a deck builder by nature and a combo player by nature. So I don't play for value as well as other players. I play mainly around just pulling off crazy plays and crazy strategies my opponent doesn't see coming, and then winning that way. As far as the viability of this list, I mean top 4. It's really good. I killed the Ancient in probably a third of my games, and 2 towers and the rest. I had multiple games that ended on the round of 6 mana, or I just killed 2 towers that quickly because sometimes with hero killing, you just get that far ahead. Let's see. What else should I say about the deck? Oh, I also had this crazy moment where my opponent blinked away a hero that was blocking my Sora Lacan, and my Sora Lacan alone dealt 27 damage to their tower. So I think my Sora had like 3 coordinated assaults on her, and I like played a Disciple of Nevermore, which buffed the Nevermore buff by 2, and then 6 more damage from like the coordinated assaults, which is like so that's 8 more damage. So she already starts by hitting for 12, so that's 20. And then I had like, I think I dropped an Oath as well or something. But in any case, I killed the tower more than half of its health with just hitting it with Sora Lacan. It felt pretty good. Or I might have had 1 creep in there. I don't know. But that was one of my favorite plays. I also, I had multiple games where my opponent, I killed the tower in 1 round, and then I committed units into other lanes. My opponents also committed units in those lanes. Ignored the lane that I just killed the tower on, and then we came to that lane. I went Oath, and hit the Ancient for 80, just from 0 to 80. It's a fun list. Hope you guys, whenever you do finally get to play this game, feel free to try it out. I think that this is, at least in my opinion, slightly more viable than the gold list, just because you're not so reliant on drawing your payday or whatever gold generation cards you have in your deck, because all of your item deck in like these gold generation lists your item deck can end up being dead if like your first item offered to you is a Horn of the Alpha, and then the second item offered to you is another Horn of the Alpha, right? Like, not getting those early game value items is really rough, and then if you just don't get the gold generation cards, you can fall extremely far behind. Whereas in this list, it's literally just some creeps for gaining board presence, and then hero killing abilities and damage pumping abilities, and those are always good because, especially in tandem, as I said, you kill a hero in a lane, you're now safe in that lane, and then you pump that lane for damage, and tower damage is extremely important in Artifact. It's a base race in Artifact, and this deck is really good at doing that. I don't think this list is tier 1. I've only been, this was my first tournament playing with this list, so as I said, there's already multiple changes I want to make. I got destroyed in the semifinals by a card that I'm not sure if it's spoiled yet, so I'm not going to mention it. And basically, it was rough. So I'm not claiming that this is like tier 1. This is probably like a tier 2 build, but I think that this style of play for red-black is going to be tier 1. The ability to pump damage from nowhere is going to be good. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Feel free to check out Artifact Shark. As I said, they did a great job hosting the tournament. So go give their site some hits and read that article. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.